Big comeback yesterday here at Great American Ballpark for the Reds. Bottom of the sixth inning, Brandon Phillips cuts into the lead. It was 6-3 after that blast, and then this one by Frazier put the Reds over the top in the bottom of the seventh. Dusty Baker, a happy man. Chapman, a happy man. Those two did the damage offensively, and the Reds from 6-0 come back to win 7-6. And now today, the start of a 4-game series here against the Milwaukee Brewers. Take a look at the standings now in the National League's Central Division. There you see the Reds by a 1/2 game over the idle Pirates from yesterday. Cardinals 5 back. These Brewers 7.5 games off the pace. Hi, and a pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Couch along with Chris Welsh. Welcome to Reds Baseball. Well, tonight, the start of a 3-game series here over the weekend against this Milwaukee ball club. And boy, Chris, Brandon Phillips, after the break, has just been on fire, and he really torched them yesterday.
You know, a lot of people thought Brandon was snubbed by not being named to the National League All-Star team, but just think of what's happened for Brandon. He didn't have to go to Kansas City. He didn't have to get caught up in all the hoopla, not getting any rest, flying back and forth. And you know what? Maybe that extra rest that he got during the All-Star break has paid off for the Reds big time, because he has come back from the break simply on fire. By the way, start checking some of the numbers of those players that did go to the All-Star team. You'll see a lot of them had a drop-off. Maybe not Andrew McCutcheon, but just about a lot of other those players really did, I guess, suffer from all that wear and tear of being on that All-Star game.
And what about Ryan Braun from Milwaukee? He missed the last game and a half due to a strained right groin, but he's back in there tonight. He's having a tremendous year.
Well, he's actually having a better year than he did last year. And remember, last year he won the MVP in the league. He's got more home runs. He leads that league, leads the league in that category, and the guy's on fire. If there's one player in this lineup that you can say, I will not allow him to beat me, it's got to be Ryan Braun.
Well, meanwhile, for the Reds, it's Homer Bailey on the mound tonight. He's never beaten this Milwaukee ball club, but he pitched very well here his last time out against the St. Louis Cardinals. He guns for victory number 9 here tonight.
not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Big crowd on hand here tonight on this Friday night as the Reds start a 3-game series to close out this long 10-game homestand against the Milwaukee Brewers. Meanwhile, the weather a bit overcast. Let's take a look at the weather report brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's Tim Hedrick.
Looks like a pretty nice evening for the ball game with all the rain pushing down to the south. Still a little muggy, but temperatures in the mid-70s. And remember, Brandon Phillips says no boo in a first-place team. I happen to agree. I think we give him a standing ovation on the first plate appearance. That's apropos. Apropos? In French? That means, you betcha!
Homer Bailey gunning for his 9th win of the year here tonight, Chris.
Well, he is, and he's been awfully good this year. I'll tell you what, he's in top 10 in the National League in quality starts. He's nailed down 13 of those. The one thing he's not been able to do throughout his career is really have much of a quality start against the Milwaukee Brewers. He is 0 for 5 lifetime and 10 starts against this Brewer ball club. But in July, you hope that the July momentum that he has built, 3-0 with a 1.99 earned run average, he's really on a roll. You hope that that carries over and he forgets what color of the uniforms he is pitching against tonight.
Swing series here between these two ball clubs. Milwaukee trying to stay in the National League Central race. Reds trying to close out a very good homestand thus far, where they've won 5 of their first 7. ...2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by Cincinnati, USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Take a look at Milwaukee's lineup for this evening's game. There's Norichika Aoki leading off, playing in his first year in the United States after many years over in Japan. Carlos Gomez and Ryan Braun, the top 3. Aramis Ramirez, Corey Hart, and Ricky Weeks in the middle for the Brewers. And then Martin Maldonado, Cody Ransom, and the pitcher at the bottom is Marco Estrada. And on the mound for the Reds, it's the right-hander from Texas, Homer Bailey.
Homer Bailey has 3 consecutive quality starts. He hopes to have one tonight. Also hopes the Reds can get him a few runs, which he would nail down a win. It would be his first against the Milwaukee Brewers. This right-hander has really found a nice pace to his delivery. And if you watch him throughout the ball game, he's a guy that his arm catches up with his body, and he's throwing the ball just about exactly where he wants to, almost on every pitch.
And they'll face Norichika Aoki to lead things off. He's been a very good leadoff man for this Milwaukee club this year. Haley's first pitch fouled back, and we are underway from Great American Ballpark. Game time temperature 77 degrees. Some of the numbers on Aoki: 288 average and a 363 on base percentage. He'll be followed by Carlos Gomez and Ryan Braun here in the first. Homer Bailey, a very good start his last time out. You look at his home versus away numbers and you figure, well, he doesn't pitch well here, and he hasn't most of the year, but that last start Sunday against the Cardinals was spectacular.
And that was a big time start too. National television, Sunday night, full crowd, division rivals. They were looking for a sweep, the Reds were, and he gave the Reds everything he needed, and he had to, because he was in a real good pitching duel that night with Jake Westbrook.
There's his last 3 starts, including the one we're talking about on Sunday. 1 earned run in that one.
How about going 8 innings in 2 of his last 3 starting assignments? I mean, when you get down to the lower part of your rotation, I don't know whether you're looking at Bailey as number 4 or Leake as number 5 or vice versa, but either way, and you can have a guy go deep into a ball game like Homer has 2 of his last 3 times, really 3 of his last 3, but 8 innings 2 of his last 3 times out. That really helps your bullpen.
He won 9 games, as we mentioned a year ago, went 9-7 in 22 starts. Here he is making his 19th start of this year. He's 8-6, so he's looking to equal a career high in this, from a career standpoint, his 97th start, all with the Reds. And you're seeing longer and longer stretches with this guy of consistent baseball. There's strike 3 called, and Aoki is rung up by our home plate umpire Tim Timmons to get this game started. Take a look at the Reds defensively now behind Homer Bailey, brought to you by your Ford dealers, Ludwig, Stubbs, and Bruce across the outfield. Infield is Roland Cozart left side, Phillips, Frazier, the 2 heroes offensively yesterday, right side. Mesoraco catches Bailey. The batter, the center fielder Carlos Gomez. Gomez at 234. He's driven 5 over the boards. Driven home 18. This Brewer club starting a road trip now that will take them here for 3 with Cincinnati. Then they head out to Philadelphia for 3. They just concluded a nice homestand. That ball ricocheted right off the glove of Roland and out into left field. Roland was playing even with the bag. We'll take another look at it here.
Boy, it was a hanging breaking ball that was really jumped all over by Gomez, and he hits that ball hard. Looks like Roland barely gets his glove down in time. That's how quickly that ball got down there. Playing even with the bag, you've got to try to take the bunt away from a quick guy like Gomez. And actually, if you look back on it, it looks like you're fortunate that that ball was even knocked down by Roland. It didn't go into the corner for a double.
They'll rule out a base hit for Gomez. He's on with 1 out with the first hit of this game, and here's Ryan Braun. Braun left the game against St. Louis on Tuesday in the 7th inning with a right groin strain. Sat out Wednesday's game. They had the day off yesterday, traveling here to Cincinnati, back in there tonight. Runner going. Well, we're going to see a lot of that, you would figure, Chris, in this series from Milwaukee, trying to steal. They're big on that offensively.
Well, they are. They've got a number of players on their ball club in this game tonight with 6 or more stolen bases. The guy on base, Gomez, has 13. The guy at the plate, Ryan Braun, has 16. He's the highest of anybody in the lineup tonight. So they'll push the running game just about every time they can. Of course, they're trying to make up a little bit for the lack of offense they have with the exodus of Prince Fielder, no longer the lineup. They're trying to figure out a way to score more runs.
Again, the runner going. The pitch inside. The throw is wide and knocked down by the diving Phillips. Stolen base for Gomez, number 14. That's 70 of them now on the season.
for this Milwaukee club.
Well, Gomez had a good jump. Bailey has gotten better about holding runners, but that pitch was awfully tough for Mesoraco to handle. It was way inside, nearly hit Ryan Braun. And by the time he was able to grab it and move his feet and then get thrown to second base, it almost seemed like Braun, even though he's standing in the batter's box, was in his way. So they picked the right pitch to go on.
They finished near the bottom of the league last year in stolen bases. They're 4th in the league going into today's game in steals. Driven to right, down in front of Bruce for a hit, but that ball was hit so sharply that the runner is not going to be able to come home. Bruce rainbows that throw in. It's 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Braun, despite missing a game and a half, just continues his hot hitting ways.
You know, Jay Bruce sometimes plays so shallow out there, and those opposing teams and runners are well aware of the many sliding, diving catches that he has made on balls that sink right in front of him. So in that case, Carlos Gomez had to hold up just a second to make sure that Jay Bruce wasn't going to leave his feet and make a miraculous catch. And that's why he's held up at 3rd.
So an RBI opportunity now for the Brewers' first-year third baseman, the veteran Aramis Ramirez, 34 years old now, signed a 3-year deal with his Brewer club prior to the start of this season. Hitting .278, 10 home runs, 54 RBIs. Ramirez, cool start to the year, but over his last 46 games, hitting .324. Talking about what Milwaukee has been doing, they closed out that homestand right after the All-Star break. They won 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh. They won 2 out of 3 from St. Louis. So here they are 4-2 after the break, and still trying to decide, are we in it or are we not in this thing? They come in 3 under, 44 and 47, 7.5 games out.
Well, they're a ball club that has played very good baseball at home in Milwaukee. Before they get on the road, they just can't seem to hit. They, along with the Florida or the Miami Marlins, the worst hitting team in the National League when they get away from home. Their collective batting average down the low 220s.
They won 18 and lost 24 away from Miller Park this year. They won the division last year and still finished under 500 on the road last season.
Boy, big strikeout right there for Homer Bailey. Challenged him with a fastball, got it inside. Ramirez has been rolling right along, but in his later years, he's made himself a very good off-speed hitter. And Homer just goes power, and that little sinking fastball has a lot of action on it, and he just can't get the bat on it at all.
So Bailey has a couple of strikeouts. He's given up a couple of hits here in the first, and we'll deal now with Corey Hart as Ramirez heads back to the dugout. And there's another guy swinging a very good bat as of late, and who would have thought that he would be the guy, Chris, that ends up taking over for Prince Fielder at first base?
Well, it's opened up a spot for Aoki as well, but I mean, he can play first base. He's a big rangy guy out there defensively. But when he was an all-star, it's because of his offense. Got a 12-game hitting streak.
Tonight his 40th start at first base this year. He only made 2 starts at first in his career prior to this season. Now Homer has him set up. They thought they had their guy in Matt Gamble who was going to take over, but boy, in an oddity really, Gamble and Alex Gonzalez both went out with torn ACLs within a couple of days of one another in early May.
Yeah, this Brewer team was just really beset with major injuries early in the year. They're actually fortunate to be where they are in the standings, considering all the players and pitchers that they've lost to the DL. Here's a spot. Well, Corey Hart will chase. You throw him a pitch down and away, a little breaking ball down and away. He's always been known as a guy that will, when he's behind in the count, chase that pitch. trying to come up and in. Even if you just take the last 2 pitches that Homer Bailey has thrown, that one where he missed on an 0-2 count down and away, and then next pitch up and in, just trying to change the eye level, make Corey Hart adjust from a visual standpoint.
Homer has surpassed the 20 pitch mark here in the first inning. This is number 22. That will be forthcoming to Hart. Boy, that big victory yesterday certainly puts a whole different light on this series, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, you know, it does such a great wonder for the clubhouse. I mean, just consider the attitude in the clubhouse after the game last night, after that improbable, exciting comeback victory. 5 runs batted in by Brandon Phillips. A little momentum going into today.
Hart went around. He strikes out, and Bailey gets all 3 outs via the strikeout, and the Brewers strand a couple here in the top of the first. First Aoki, then Ramirez, and then finally Hart. Behind victory yesterday. Look at the Reds batting order now for tonight. Stubbs, Cozart, and the hero from yesterday, Phillips. Bruce back in there today in the cleanup spot. Ludwig and Rowland. And then it's Frazier, Mesoraco, and Homer Bailey rounding out the 9 for the Reds. How about our Farmers Insurance report card with the starter of the Brewers, Marco Estrada?
Well, a quick counter report on Marco Estrada. He was a converted reliever. He's not making all that many starts this year, although he's in the rotation right now due to some injuries ahead of him. He's tough on right-handers. He holds them to a batting average under 200, and his go-to pitch to get a lot of those strikeouts, and he does get a lot of punch-outs, is a curveball. So he'll use it a lot with a lineup laden with right-handers by Dusty Baker tonight.
Reds saw him on June the 26th. He struck out a career-high 12, but the Reds did win that game 4-3, but not against him. It was that winner in the bottom of the 8th by Drew Stubbs, a home run that was the difference in that game, and that's the game you'll recall that Arroyo had the no-hitter going for 7 1/3. Speaking of, here's Stubbs against the right-hander Estrada. Well, the first thing you notice, Chris, about Estrada is he has that slow, deliberate delivery to the plate, doesn't he?
He does, and I'm wondering if maybe that lulls asleep certain hitters up there, because if you look at his raw stuff, you say, well, why in the world would this guy be able to go out and strike out 10 major league hitters? He doesn't throw all that hard. That last fastball only 89 miles an hour. But that's the pitch right there, the curveball, that when he gets the hang of that, he loves to throw it, especially when he's ahead the count.
Take a look at him now as he tries to get the sign. The question really is here, how does he see the sign? That's tough right there. Looks like he's blocking his entire face.
I think he just feels the energy of Martin Maldonado.
All right. Full count now to Stubbs. Comes into this game having hit in 4 in a row, 8 of his last 9. That Arizona series in the leadoff spot, he did walk 3 times, but he strikes out here for out number 1. Take a look at the defense now for this Milwaukee Brewer ball club of Ron Renicky, Braun, Gomez, and Aoki in the outfield. Ramirez and Ransom on the left side. Ricky Weeks and Corey Hart on the right side. Martin Maldonado catching Marco Estrada. They are hoping in the not too distant future, and when I say that I mean maybe by the end of the month, to get Jonathan Lucroy, their everyday catcher, back, although Maldonado's done a darn good job of filling in for them. Dusty Baker said before the game, we've got a couple of guys that are really scuffling right now, and this was one of them. Zach Cozart, the other being Bruce. Cozart 1 for his last 21.
Well, unfortunately now for Cozart and all those that are struggling, there's no really light in the future, no light in the tunnel, so to say, except for an off day on next Thursday. I mean, this is the grueling part of baseball. You go through the hot weather part of the summer. You're playing every day. There are no days off. You start getting into a slump. Pitchers start smelling where your weaknesses are. They start exploiting that weakness because the advanced scouting nowadays is so good. There's just nowhere to hide. Really, the only thing you can do is go out there and battle every day, every pitch, every at bat. Hope that a few of the line drives that you hit fall in.
There's an overall mark at 240. Well, it really has not affected his defense, though, has it? He's really been very good out there.
You know, you can say that for everybody on this ball club.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, you see somebody go out there and take an 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts that are still out there diving after balls to try to make good defensive plays. There's not one selfish player on this ball club.
Braun will handle this for the second out. So Stubbs strikes out. Cozart flies out. And how about Brandon Phillips now yesterday? This blast was able to get the Reds on the board in the 6th inning against Joe Saunders. Didn't allow a hit to the Reds until there were 2 out in the 5th inning. That made it 6-3 right there.
Boy, was that a bomb of a home run. Not all that often do you see Brandon hit a ball down the third baseline like that. But he comes back after that All-Star break refreshed. Overall a .290 hitter. But he's been really hot since the All-Star break.
He now just sits 2 RBIs behind the man on deck, Jay Bruce, for the leadership spot in RBIs on this team. He's hitting 7 of his last 8 games. That home run yesterday, his first home run in July. In fact, it was his first home run since the 23rd of June in a 6-0 win against Minnesota. Here's a look at his numbers over the last 8 games. Raised that average up to .290 for Phillips. 5 RBIs yesterday, fell 1 short of his career best of 6. These teams getting together for the third series this year. An earlier series up in Milwaukee, the Reds took 2 out of 3. Right before they went on the West Coast trip in late June, the Reds took 2 out of 3 here against them. They have a 3-game series up in Milwaukee in early August, and then right at the end of the season, a 3-game series here against this Brewer club. Gomez charging, and Gomez will get there, and the Reds go in order in the first against the right-hander Marco Estrada.
It means I'm the rookie on the team again. It means I'll go through the rookie hazing, I'm sure. I'm really looking forward to it. It just means I'm part of the greatest fraternity in all of sports, and that's what Joe said to me. Mm-hmm. He welcomed me to the greatest fraternity, and not of baseball players, all of sports.
That's today's Elk and Elk storyline. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Barry Larkin there talking with Brian Gieschenslaw, an interview that you will see in its entirety during Reds Live prior to the game on Sunday. Induction day for Barry Larkin.
Boy, it's great to see Barry Larkin just get recognized as one of the game's best ever players.
Hard to believe sometimes, isn't it?
Those of us who played with him wouldn't think it was hard to believe, but it's amazing how things happen. Mm-hmm. And it just goes to show you, that local hometown boy makes good, makes the major leagues, plays with one team his entire career, and now he's going to the Hall of Fame.
You wonder back sometimes, don't you, when he went to Michigan to play football. Had he not been redshirted that first year, what would have happened with his baseball career? So many good stories and pieces out there this week about Barry Larkin. Sunday at 1:30 in Cooperstown, he'll be inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame. Ricky Weeks leading things off here in the Milwaukee second. No score in the game. The Brewers stranded 2 in the first. A strikeout of Ricky Weeks. So 4 outs recorded in this game by Homer Bailey and 4 strikeouts.
Oh, that was the old cutter right there. He got him looking for something that was not a fastball, or something that wasn't a fastball, and because Ricky Weeks is a very good fastball hitter, missed that one by a long shot. But a 3-2 count, that is the maturing of a young pitcher right there, with the confidence of being able to throw a breaking ball or a non-straight fastball on a 3-2 count when you desperately need a strike.
Here's Martin Maldonado, the catcher that was called up from AAA Nashville when Jonathan Lucroy went on the disabled list with a right hand fracture. Again, they're hoping to get him back later this month. Bailey quickly gets ahead. Maldonado disagrees with the call of Tim Timmons.
Yeah, they've been barking a little bit, the Brewers have. Aoki was called out on a strike that looked like it was at the very lower end of the strike zone. Maldonado did not like that one. Ricky Weeks had a weird look for home plate umpire Tim Timmons during his at bat.
Maldonado up here hitting .273. When he was recalled in late May from Nashville, he was hitting just .198 for their AAA team. Ozark will handle this for the second out. Sundays are family days at Great American Ballpark. This Sunday, cheer on the Reds at half price with the Meyer Family Day deal. When one member of the family purchases a full price ticket, they'll get the option to purchase 3 additional tickets at half price. Plus, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger get a kids mini mascot set thanks to Coca-Cola. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/family today. Some restrictions do apply. Roland handles this hot smash off the bat of Cody Ransom, and Bailey has himself a 1-2-3, top of the second. Come from behind victory for the Reds, down 6-0. That one in the 7th inning by Phillips. Check that, the 6th inning by Phillips made it 6-3. Then the Reds proceeded to get 4 in the 7th. A big error there by Paul Goldschmidt, the first baseman, and the ball hit by Wilson Valdez made it 6-4. This double by Brandon Phillips tied the game, and then the game winner from Todd Frazier made it 7-6. 9th inning, a 1-2-3 inning by Aroldis Chapman. Reds get their 22nd come-from-behind victory this year. And how about that total, Chris, over the last 3 years?
That really is amazing. I mean, you're in some high cotton company right there when you got the Yankees in Boston and Atlanta. All of that group of the most comeback wins over the last few seasons. Cardiac kids.
45 of them in the division-winning year of 2010. 40 of them last year, and 22 so far this year, with still counting this game, 70 games remaining. Bruce leads things off here in the bottom of the second. out in front of that, and he rolls it to Hart, who steps on the base. Jay is now 0 for his last 19, and that ties a career worst for him that he set earlier this year back in April.
Oh, you like to see him get a couple of knocks, maybe take the monkey off his back, so to say, and he might be pressing a little bit with the absence of Joey Votto, knowing that he's the only left-handed hitter in the lineup. I mean, it's only natural to think that he thinks he's got more pressure on him, and when you go up there feeling pressure, believe me, it makes yourself an awful easy out. Tough guys to get out are those guys that are nice and relaxed and really are carefree about everything except just seeing the baseball.
No, it's Ryan Ludwig with one man out here in the bottom of the second. Reds still looking for their first base runner on this Friday night. Ludwig starts the game at .237, 14 homers, 39 runs batted in. He, of course, one of the big heroes of that Cardinal series. He had that line drive game-winning home run on Saturday that won it in the bottom of the 10th, 3-2 to left field. Also homered here in the game on Tuesday against Arizona. Angel Hernandez down there, the crew chief at first. They appealed to him. They said no. Ludwig did not go around, so it's 2-2. Well, the last time the Reds faced Estrada was a very similar beginning to this. He was really almost untouchable through the first 5 innings of that game. Sinking fast, but getting there is Aoki to make the catch on the line drive by Ludwig for the second out. That was a scoreless game through 5 on June the 26th when the Reds last saw this fella.
Norachika Aoki has really nailed down that outfield spot in right for the Brewers. Ever since they moved Corey Hart, the all-star, from right field to first base, that opened up a spot. They weren't sure that Aoki would be able to hang in there. Defensively, he's very good. Offensively, he's been the leadoff man.
He's the player that they signed out of Japan. 2-year deal through next year, back in mid-January. He had played 8 years over in Japan with the Tokyo Yakult Swallows. He's done a good job of transitioning over here to the big leagues in the U.S. Rolling thrown out by Ransom. Reds go in order for the second straight inning against Estrada.
professional athletes, and nothing motivates them more than when someone tells them they can't do something. Like with Joey Votto out of the lineup, Reds players have heard it a ton. You can't win without Joey Votto. Well, Brandon Phillips has something to say about that.
I'm the guy, who has to step up a little bit more, try to get things going. And, I love the spotlight. I love the pressure. And I thrive off things like that. So, it just seems like I just have, something more to prove a little bit. Just show people that, we still, regardless of whoever is not in our lineup, we still in the hunt. We still can make this happen.
Well, they all have a lot to prove, and Brandon Phillips certainly proved something yesterday. The Reds are 2-1 post Joey Votto surgery. And by the way, before we go upstairs, saw Joey Votto in the clubhouse again today and was surprised at the ease that he was walking with. He's down to one crutch, putting a lot of weight on the knee. And a lot of times when guys get knee surgeries, tough to get up and down, in and out of a chair, but he was going up and down with no problems. Very surprised at how quickly he's coming along. He says he has no pain. Boys?
All right, thank you, Jim. And yeah, we've heard Joey say that he's a quick healer. We've heard Dusty say Joey's a quick healer, so we hope he's a quick healer.
Well, I can tell you that if it's a normal meniscus tear that didn't have any complications, and they say that's exactly what they found, that there used to be a 21-day disabled list. And I've known people come back and play. Actually, I think I pitched on the 22nd day after having meniscus surgery. Now, that's not running around the field and certainly not doing the kind of things that Joey Votto did. But still, nonetheless, the way they rehab them nowadays, you're walking really within hours of having that surgery. And the next day you're walking, and then you're climbing upstairs a few days later. And, hey, in a couple of weeks, Joey Votto wouldn't even know he had surgery.
Corey Hart of Milwaukee had meniscus surgery in spring training, and he was back in action in about 3.5 weeks. So that's good news. Estrada here is thrown out by Zach Cozart, cutting way across the middle of the infield. So that now is 6 in a row retired by Homer Bailey, and we'll go back to the top of the order. Bailey gave up the infield single in the first to Gomez on the smash to third. The ball trickled off the glove of Scott Rowland, and then the single to right by Ryan Braun. And since then, 6 straight. Here's Aoki, called out on strikes to get this game started, talking about him being from Japan, played for the Yakult Swallows for 8 years over there, 7 times was an all-star. He offers the first pitch here and flies out to left, so there are 2 men gone. Take a look now at our Meyer text poll of the evening. Which team is the Reds' biggest rival? The Indians, the Cardinals, or the Brewers? Text 1, 2, or 3 to 37664. Normal messaging rates do apply. We'll show you the results later on in tonight's game. Which team the biggest Reds rival? Indians, Reds, Indians, Cardinals, Brewers. I know what I'd pick. You know what you'd pick?
Yeah, I'd pick the Cardinals.
Really, right now, I don't know that there's anybody close, is there?
And it's been the Cardinals, too, even when in those years where the Reds weren't quite as relevant in the standings. They always wanted to be the spoiler of the Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals have the Reds on their mind. You can't pick up the St. Louis paper, it doesn't seem, on a daily basis and pick up some article written about the Reds or a Reds player. A couple of days ago, there was a nice article about Ryan Ludwig. They always seem to be keeping their folks in Cardinal Nation up on what's going on here in Reds country.
And they start the day 5 out, 2 over the 500 mark. They also were off yesterday. They're playing at home against the Cubs tonight. Cozart moves quickly to his left, throws out Gomez. Second straight 1-2-3 inning for Bailey. And Homer's now retired. 8 in a row as we go to the bottom of the third. sign tonight during this game. Mike Pong from Cincinnati will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. You can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. That Toyota truck perched way above the Reds bullpen out in left center. Big crowd on hand on this Friday night. First game of the 3-game series. Night game tomorrow. Afternoon game on Sunday. And then the Reds depart. 6-game road trip, which takes them to Houston for 3. Colorado for 3. First pitch swinging, Frazier. Weeks handles it, 1 out. Boy, speaking of, Chris, that Houston ball club, they made a deal today with Toronto, players going both ways.
Well, they had 10 players in that deal, so there's a lot of frequent flyer miles being given out here over the next few days. The big names obviously came from, not obviously, but the big names really from the Astros standpoint is they sent 3 pitchers to Toronto. Brandon Lyon, their closer, Jay Happ, a starter, and David Carpenter. Carpenter's a young guy who's had some command problems, but boy, he's got great arm and great stuff. I think down the road that the Blue Jays are hoping that he makes something. And, you know, from what I read on those posts and blogs and so on in and around Houston, is that they're very happy with the young players they got. Not all of them are young. They did get Francisco Cordero in that deal, former Reds closer, but they got some young players to help bolster their farm system, and it certainly is a rebuilding process down there in Houston.
It want to be interesting next week, and there's some of the particulars that are involved in that. The players going each way. Francisco Cordero, to see Cordero next week pitching against the Reds.
There were a lot of Reds fans over the years who wish he would have done that more often.
Well, you know, you look back now at the closing situation here and how incredibly well Chapman has done, 15 saves now, and you think back at the time Cordero was offered a 2-year contract, let it hang for a while, then decided, you know what, I don't think we're going to do that. Well, you look at that now and you think, well, okay, that turned out to be fortuitous. Mesoraco, 2 balls and 2 strikes. He brings a 7-game hitting streak into this contest. He's been hitting the ball better lately, hasn't he?
He has. I think he's beginning to get adjusted to what major league life is all about. I don't mean, you know, what it's like to drive around in a nice car and get good meal money. I'm talking about what it's like to play, what it's like to grind it out. Now, he's only playing 2 out of every 5 days with the pitchers that he's catching, but he's sitting, he's learning, he's watching, he's asking questions, and he's taking that extra time in between starts to work on his batting stroke. Got under that one.
Handled by Hart for the 2nd out. A reminder that as you enjoy the game tonight, look forward to our Miller Time moment later in this evening's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Eight up, 8 down against Marco Estrada. Now Homer Bailey bats. He has 6 hits on the year. Reds still looking for their first base runner of the night. Well, Estrada does not have a win yet this season. Comes into the game 0-3, 4.13. He had some time on the disabled list this year. In fact, a month with a right quad strain. He made a couple of rehab starts down at Nashville. Started the year in the bullpen, but when they had a number of injuries to their pitching staff, the first which was Chris Narveson going on the DL, he moved into that spot. Now he gets the strikeout of Bailey, number 2 for him, and so he has retired all 9 Reds that have come up there against him thus far. The Cincinnati Reds for tonight's game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question of the night. Since 1970, who are the 5 shortstops to win both the MVP and Gold Glove Award in the same season? Since 1970, who are the 5 shortstops to win the MVP award and the Gold Glove Award in the same season? One of them certainly jumps out at you. Maybe more than one, actually.
I'm not so sure more than one jumps out at me. Are we talking about in both leagues?
I think we are, yeah. MVP and
the one
Gold
that
Glove.
jumps out, obviously, Barry Larkin. Okay. Did Cal Ripken do that?
I don't ever think he was an MVP. Do you?
I think he was an MVP. I'm uncertain about the Gold Glove, but I know he was an MVP.
It is both leagues, so we'll just mull it around a bit.
I guess Alan Trammell might be one of those.
That's a good guess, yeah. Braun leading it off here. He singled into right his first time. This has been a battle of pitching thus far. Marco Estrada of the Brewers, Homer Bailey of the Reds. Bailey is without a victory in 10 career starts against Milwaukee. 0-5 with a 6+ ERA, including 2 games this year where they just knocked him around.
That is the most starts without a victory. Let me put it this way. He's the only pitcher that has had at least 10 starts against the Brewers lifetime and never had a victory. So he's due. And he's throwing the ball very well tonight. The one guy in his lineup that has really leveled the ball against him very well over the years has been Ryan Braun. Came in 7 for 22, has already picked up a knock tonight. He's the kind of guy that can ruin your night with a mistake pitch.
MVP, of course, a year ago, went through the PED thing in the offseason. That was overturned. No suspension for him. He has bounced back this year with another very fine year, tied for 8th in the league in hitting coming in at 309. And he's 2 for 2 in this game.
Well, Homer Bailey already tonight has really kept the ball down low, not just to Ryan Braun, but everybody. But we'll show you in this at bat how many low pitches there were. He finally made a mistake, threw that ball right about waist high to Braun, and Braun was able to nudge it up the middle for a base hit. Just a well placed ground ball. Seems like good players, though, get those well placed ground balls more than bad players do.
They take advantage, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you see Joey Votto sneak one through the infield?
Here's a Ramos Ramirez. Double play ball to short. 1, 2. Very easy there. 6-4-3. Braun erased out at second base after career hit number 1,000.
I'll tell you what, with the way that these two teams are swinging after the first pitch, you wonder if they've got a dinner reservation somewhere. Both of these ball clubs being very aggressive tonight against these two pitchers.
So a hit and then a 6-4-3 double play. Here's Corey Hart. Homer made his first start against this Brewers club this year back on May the 8th up there. Touched up for 6 runs in 3 2/3. Suffered the loss in an 8-3 defeat. Cozart throws out Hart. 3 batters and out in the 4th. Thanks to the double play. Go the Brewers. accompanying answer since 1970. Who are the 5 shortstops to win both the MVP and Gold Glove Award in the same season? We figured Barry Larkin will be inducted Sunday in the Hall of Fame. And there are the others. Robin Yount of the Brewers. Cal Ripken Jr. So, yeah, you're right there. A-Rod. Jimmy Rollins, the most recent one. Barry Larkin in 1995. That was his one and only MVP award. Of course, Barry will be inducted into the Hall of Fame on Sunday. We'll be all over that. That starts at 1:30. The game here is at 1:10. Brian Giesenslaw, a sit down with Larkin prior to the game during our Reds Live pregame show. Ron Santo, the late Ron Santo of the Cubs, also going in. Ford C. Frick Award winner this year is Tim McCarver. Longtime Cardinal player, longtime personal catcher of Steve Carlton when he was with the Phillies. Longtime broadcaster now. Stubbs leads things off here in the 4th. Weeks and Braun. Weeks gives way, and Braun handles it, and that is 10 in a row set down by Marco Estrada. So the Reds still yet to not only have a hit, but no base runners yet in this game. I said Braun, that was Aoki in right field who made the catch on that ball. So 1 out. Here's Cozart, who flied to left his first time. Didn't play yesterday. Wilson Valdez played, and he was a big part of that come from behind 7-6 win. That ball he hit hard toward first base. This played by Goldschmidt led to a couple of runs. He scored twice, had a hit, had a walk, was on 3 times. Cozart's only hit in his last 22 times up was a base hit in the 5th inning on Tuesday against Arizona. There's tomorrow's starter for, actually that Sunday starter for the Reds, Johnny Cueto, next to Wilson Valdez in the dugout. Johnson Arroyo will go tomorrow. The Reds are again a dozen over 500, equaling their high water mark of the year. 52-40, trying to stretch that for the first time this year to 13.
I'll tell you what, it looked like Ryan Braun just simply gave up on that ball. He thought it was going to go into the stands, no problem. But of course, maybe nursing a bad adductor muscle, which is part of your upper leg. He wasn't going to bust it over there for a foul ball that may never even make it into the playing field. They probably told Ryan Braun, you take it easy. We need you to swing the bat, not out there with a little daring do defensively.
Phillips waits on deck. No score in this game. Home 4th inning. Brannon had some not too kind words to say regarding the booing yesterday during the middle of the game. Didn't appreciate the booing. Toward left field and hit well. And did it get out? Yes, it did. Home run for Cozart. His 10th of the year. I didn't clear that wall by much at all out there. Looked like it's a first row shot. But a 1 for 22 by the wayside and a 1-0 lead.
Well, it was a fastball that he got about mid-high, right on the inner part of the plate, and Cozart's got a nice quick bat. Did not get a lot of air under underneath that ball, a line drive type home run right into the first row, but the Reds will take it. They're finally on the board. They've finally been able to crack Marco Estrada, who had retired the first 10 batters in this ball game before Cozart takes him deep.
Cozart last homered out in San Diego on the 6th of July when they lit off the game out there with a home run ball against the former Red Kip Wells.
Boy, he stays right down there. If you just look at his eyes, I mean, they are just riveted right down there. If you pull off that ball at all, you're going to end up popping it up.
So the first base runner of the game for the Reds is their first hit, is their first run. Cozart, in fact, has 2 hits lifetime against Estrada, both of them homers. So 1-0 Reds lead here in the bottom of the 4th. Estrada, a native of Mexico, played collegiately at Long Beach State. Drafted by the Nationals, but claimed back in 2010 by the Brewers. Won 4 games for them last year. Mostly out of the bullpen. He said he's kind of been pushed into a starter's role now with Chris Narveson on the DL, Sean Markham on the DL. 3 everyday players they thought would be there this year out of the lineup. Matt Gamble at first, Alex Gonzalez at short, Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. 2 of them lost for the year. Reds, of course, playing without Joey Votto. This is game 5 that he has been out of the lineup. Game 4 since he's had surgery. He was out of the lineup Monday. The announcement came just as the game was, in the first inning or so Monday, that he would have surgery on Tuesday, which he did. As you heard Jim Day say earlier, looked like he was walking around surprisingly easily in the clubhouse prior to the game, considering he just had surgery on Tuesday. Nice running catch out there by Gomez. He had a long way to go to get to that ball, but he got there on the dead run. Phillips is the second out of the inning.
Keep in mind that on a right-handed hitter hitting this ball, the ball's going to slice away from the center fielder. He pushed a little bit by the wind, the spin of the ball, but Gomez never gives up on this ball and makes a nice running catch there.
He and Aoki coming together out there. Gomez got to it. So an out after the home run ball. Here's Jay Bruce. Bruce has 4 hits, 3 home runs lifetime against Estrada. 2 of those home runs this year. Boy, wouldn't he love to come up with another one? Here's what he did earlier this year against Marco Estrada. This one was in Milwaukee. And then this one here, the last time they got together. That first one, Estrada was working out of the bullpen for the Brewers. That second one was back on June the 26th. That was a 3-run homer that broke up the 0-0 score in that game. Made it 3-0 Reds. They went on to win 4-3. Toward the right field corner. Hey, the streak is over. The over 19 comes to an end, and Bruce will glide into second with a stand-up double. Boy, he's got to be feeling good about now.
Boy, nobody happy in this ballpark than number 32 about that. He got a breaking ball down after it looked like he was a little late on a fastball. That breaking ball effectively speeds up the hitter's bat. And Jay Bruce drops the head, lines it in the corner for a double. And he is safe at second. He is safe and secure.
New York Life. 23rd double of the year for Jay Bruce. So an opportunity here to add to the 1-0 lead. Bruce seems destined to break his personal best in doubles. He had 27 last year, 23 now this year, with a long way to go. And Ludwig, he can still turn on a pitch down and in very well.
I'll tell you what, I don't think there was one person sitting up there, what is that, the 400 section? Way down the left field line that they ever thought we're going to get a foul ball souvenir tonight. Maybe a foul ball softball because of the mammoth softball hitting exhibition they had here before the ball game. Not a baseball.
Gomez tracking, and he has it to retire the side. So the Reds settle for one, but it was a big one. A long ball by Cozart, just snuck over the wall and left. Number 10. That's 1-0 Reds. AT Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Nice overhead look at Great American Ballpark, and inside, Reds fans galore. Enjoying the 1-0 lead thus far. Put up on the home run by Zach Cozart. That home run means there have been 73 straight games played in this ballpark in which there has been a home run hit. That's current number going in the big leagues. It is a GABP record. We certainly talked injuries with this Milwaukee club this year, but one of the reasons that they're not having the kind of year they had a year ago is that number on the bottom for Ricky Weeks.
Well, you're not kidding about that. When you've got a guy hitting 197 for the season, somebody who you planned on being right in the middle of your order, driving runs in, getting on base, stealing some bases, doing all the things that his athletic talent has allowed him to do in the past, and all of a sudden he just falls off a cliff from a production standpoint. So what do you do? I mean, you can't sit him every game, can you? One thing that you see, I mean, it's very clear with Ricky Weeks, his front side is flying open, and he's having a real hard time hitting that pitch down and away, whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball. He's just not down on top of it. He's good on that inside one, though. You see how quick his bat can be. Mesoraco wanted that down and away. Bailey missed his spot, and Ricky Weeks too quick and out in front of it.
He's in the second year of a 4-year deal that pays him $38.5 million with a team option for 2015. So yeah, you're right, you can't sit him.
Yeah, that's the kind of deal that just causes nightmares in the general manager's office. All indicators showed that he was going to be a good player for the next few years.
And so you naturally want to tie him up.
Sure.
Here he strikes out for the second time tonight. Weeks is the National League leader in strikeouts now with 110.
He's just buckled on this pitch. Homer got him on a very similar pitch as last time up. You see all the movement in the batter's box. His feet are moving as the pitch is coming to the plate. It's a tough way to hit.
Here's Martin Maldonado. Popped up to the shortstop Cozart his first time. Brewers have 3 hits. Reds have 2. Reds the only run thus far. First 4 outs recorded in this game by Bailey were via the strikeout. That strikeout looking of Weeks, his 5th. He's continuing that stretch, which he was so good Sunday against the Cardinals here at home, tonight against this Milwaukee club.
Well, I'd imagine that nowadays Homer would just as soon have a 3 or 4 or 5 pitch inning than he would striking out the side. Last inning he had a very quick inning, even with Ryan Braun having a leadoff single. Aramis Ramirez jumped on the first pitch, double play ball. Corey Hart jumped on the second pitch for a ground out, and he was out of there in fewer than 10. Fourth inning is what I'm talking about, where he had 8 pitches. He's only up to 10 right here, and he's got 1 out, and he's ahead of the hitter.
Team right behind the Reds. The Pirates are at home tonight against the Miami Marlins, and the Marlins are leading 2-1 in the 4th inning. Just underway in St. Louis. The Cubs and the Cardinals are scoreless. The hottest pitcher, it appears, on the trading block as the trading deadline looms 11 days to go, is that Cubs pitcher Ryan Dempster, going into tonight with 33 straight scoreless innings.
Well, the Brewers have a guy in Zach Greinke that a lot of people were speculating that he might be moved right before the trading deadline, but he's right now is on the shelf.
Right.
Not on the disabled list, but they've held him back from the start. He started 3 consecutive ball games, 2 right before the All-Star break, and then the first time after the break. And after he got lit up, he came in and told Ron Reddick, you know, my arm doesn't feel very good. So what they've done is that they just simply have to sit him down. Try to get his strength back, let the pain go away. And of course, in the process, if there were some ball clubs that were interested in Zach Greinke, they certainly have cooled their interest. Not going to trade for a guy that can't pitch.
Yeah, originally he was supposed to pitch in this series.
Tell you what, though, when he's on his game, he is one of the best around. A real gamer.
Going to call that a fair ball. Roland seems to disagree with Chris Conroy down there, but that's going to be extra bases. A double for Martin Maldonado, tying run in scoring position here in the 5th.
Well, the third base umpire is to determine whether the ball goes over the bag, but if it hits in fair territory after it's by the bag, it doesn't there, but it can go over the bag and not hit on the line or in fair territory. And that's what Chris Conroy says that ball did. And they've got a one-out double.
Fourth double for Maldonado represents the tying run now here in the top of the fifth. Here's where you hope that Homer can take advantage of the lower part of the order. Ransom is number 8, and then the pitcher spot 9. You make a good point talking about that ball because it doesn't have to hit on the line.
It does not have to hit the line. It's where the umpire determines that ball is as it goes over the bag.
Cody Ransom had a big hit in that series against the Pirates last weekend. His first career grand slam came against Tony Watson of the Pirates to snap a 6-6 tie in the 8th inning. The Brewers went on to win that game 10-7. He was with the Diamondbacks when the season began. Named off waivers from the Diamondbacks by the Brewers. Getting a chance to play more shortstop here than he ever thought he would due to injuries by this Milwaukee ball club. Ransom a strikeout victim. 2 out. He's hanging around that batter's box a little bit, but he has been sent packing by Tim Timmons. So 2 out for the pitcher, Estrada. He has a couple of hits this year, a couple of RBIs. Reds fans, if you're looking for a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy, how about JTM's meatball sub kits? Pick one up today in your local grocer's freezer. JTM, let's create great dishes together. Two quick strikes. Homer's opposite number right here. Got him. He gets his 7th strikeout of the night. Strikes out all 3 batters that are retired in this inning. Runner stranded for the Brewers is their 3rd. @Bat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. You can text @Bat to 31826 or visit Reds.com for all the details. So far, so good here this evening from Great American Ballpark. A home run in the bottom of the 4th inning by Zach Cozart, his 10th of the year, giving the Reds the only run of the game and a 1-0 lead. Cozart came in terms of home runs, 3rd amongst National League rookies with 9, one behind his teammate Todd Frazier, who has 10, and Willeen Rosario of Colorado leads all rookies with 15 home runs. 85 hits now for Cozart this year, tied with the former Red Yonder Alonso, now with San Diego, for the most hits by a rookie in the National League this year. Here's Roland, grounded out his first time, leading things off in the bottom of the 5th. The hole and dribbles off the glove of Ransom. That should be a hit for Roland, who's going to try to stretch this to 2. Head first slide by the veteran. That gets them on their feet here at the ballpark.
Oh, you're not kidding about that. It also gets his own teammates on their feet a little bit. They ought to be pretty fired up about their veteran guy, kind of a clubhouse leader. You know, you lead by example in addition to leading by your voice. And he just sees that ball go off the glove. Ransom's going to jog out there and get it. Nobody's going to get after it fast enough. And Scott Rowland's thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to show these young whippersnappers how to play the game.
That's something to see right there, though, isn't it? A 37-year-old guy, been around for a long time in this game. Turned it on between first and second, went headlong into the bag. If he can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, now I want to see the young guy at the plate hitting the ball the other way to get him over to third.
Roland's 8th double of the year. He had a 4-game hitting streak snapped 2 days ago. Great start for the Reds here. On a check swing, Frazier is said not to have gone around, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Frazier popped up his first time. Hitting .311 with runners in scoring position this season. As a team, the Reds come in at .237 in that department. Reds trying to push the Brewers 8.5 out in the standings if they can get the best of them tonight. So this homestand has been a good one. A sweep of the Cardinals in that series, and then a split of the 4-gamer against Arizona. But it makes you feel better because yesterday it really looked like they were going to go down for the 3rd time in 4 games. Came back, of course, and won that one 7-6. Staying right with that smash is Ramirez. Frazier is out.
Hit hard, but not a good at bat by Todd Frazier. I mean, you get a 3-1 pitch, and I know you want to sit back and you want to hit it as hard as you possibly can, but your #1 job up there with a runner at second in a 1-run ball game especially, and nobody out, is to get that runner to third. You practice it in batting practice, and I think he just saw that pitch big, jumped all over it, hoped to hit it hard in the gap somewhere, and as it turned out, hit it right out the third baseman.
And let's see what Mesoraco can do. That ball bounces away. The throw is wide, and so they get him over there anyway. Wild pitch on Estrada.
Scott Rowland out there bounces. He sees that ball squared away, and he doesn't wait to see where the ball's going. He just sees it squirting, and as he does, that's when he ends up going to third base.
Playing the game like a 25-year-old.
He sure is.
Great to see. That brings the Brewer infield in. And so despite the fact that Frazier didn't do what they wanted him to do, they get the runner over there anyway, and the infield in now for Mesoraco.
Yeah, you're just trying to get the ball in the outfield here.
Mesoraco has 14 runs batted in. Pitcher Bailey next.
I'm green lighting them here 3-0.
So is Dusty.
Well, you're almost guaranteed you're going to get a fastball. Chances are you're going to get what I would call a 3-0 Leo, which is one right down Broadway.
I'll write that one down on my Chris Welsh list. 3-0 Leo. Tag and test the arm of Braun. There's the catch. Here's the tag. Here's the throw. Got him. Double play ends the inning. Reds take a chance. Worth taking, really. Braun was moving over towards his left, but he came up with the goods and gets rolling at the plate. And the inning comes to an end. And the Columbus Crew games will be airing here on Fox Sports Ohio. Check out foxsportsohio.com for channel information for the game you'd like to see, either the Crew or the Reds. You can get them both tomorrow. Make sure, again, you check foxsportsohio.com for channel information for the game you'd like to watch. Sixth inning baseball from Great American Ballpark. Homer Bailey, Marco Estrada, both on top of their games. That play at the end of the inning, Chris, you've got to do that. You got to send it.
Yeah, you've got the pitcher in the on-deck circle, and that's the reason why, number one, you take a chance on a play that you wouldn't normally try it on. And it wasn't a perfect throw, but it still got him, but it barely got him.
Right.
I mean, it could have taken a bad hop, could have gotten by the catcher, could have hit Roland in the back as he was going into third. So there's a lot of reasons why you try it right there, but the main one is because you had Homer Bailey in the on-deck circle.
Top of the Milwaukee order gets things started here in the 6th inning. Norichika Aoki. He struck out, flied out 0 for 2. Aoki this year 5 out of 18 with a home run against the Reds, although he did not have a good homestand at all. Only 3 hits, 21 at bats between the Pittsburgh series and the Cardinal series.
Well, he likes to do that right there, which is slap the ball the other way as he's running out of the batter's box. A lot of players that have come over here to the major leagues in America who have played in Japan previously have that same style.
He's a 3-time batting champion over there in Japan, a 7-time All-Star. Brewers are getting these 30 years old.
Well, he doesn't strike out very much. He's only struck out 31 times, including tonight. And even the one tonight he thought was a little bit low. That was a called strike 3 looking.
How about that? Second time on the night he has struck out.
What a great pitch right there by Homer Bailey. And a nice job by Devin Mesoraco to set him up. Down and away, and then a little slider right there on the inner part of the plate. There's just no way you're going to hit that pitch. Once he commits, in fact, he had a better chance of that ball hitting him rather than him hitting the ball.
Funny the way strikeouts go for Bailey this year. 2 starts ago at San Diego, he struck out 8. He's now matched that here tonight. His last start against the Cardinals, that 8-inning outing, he struck out but 2. And he's really been a first pitch strike machine. 15 of 20 batters.
Well, it changes the entire count. When you throw that first pitch in there for a strike, now all of a sudden you have the hitter on the defensive. He's thinking about what your secondary pitches are, where the catcher's going to call it. Is he going to waste one? Is he going to come up and in on me, or is he going to try to throw a slider down and away? So that's the best thing you can possibly do if you're a pitcher, is just get ahead of that hitter. And Homer's got the confidence now to do that.
Jammed him. Phillips handles it. 2 out. Gomez 1 for 3. Boy, Bailey really moving along right now. And we invite you to come for the Reds. Stay for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike at Newport Aquarium, the biggest gator in the country. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com.
Have you been over there to see Mighty Mike?
I have not.
I have.
And?
That's one large gator.
How long?
Oh, things, I don't know. I didn't get in the tank to measure it. But I can tell you.
You wouldn't be here had you done that.
Mighty long. That was it? 14, 15 feet?
Is it? I don't know.
At least.
Mighty Mike. Biggest in the country is right here at the Newport Aquarium. Here's Braun. 2 men out, nobody on. He has a pair of hits, 2 of the 4 picked up by the Brewers tonight. Braun now has 9 hits, 21 at bats, including a couple of home runs against the Reds this year.
Yeah, the story behind Mighty Mike was that they found him, I think, in a northern Florida swamp, and he migrated into an area where they got too close to houses. It was hanging around a dock, so they sent some alligator hunters in there to get him, and the hunter was so impressed by the size of this alligator that he didn't want to destroy the alligator. He wanted to save it. That's how we ended up on the tour. Right now he's been in Cincinnati or over in Newport.
Just stays alive with that defensive swing, Ryan Braun.
You know, Ryan Braun's a great player. Joey Votto's a great player. And if you watch them very closely, there's so many parallels between these two guys. That last pitch, a great example of just staying alive. Awkward swing, just try to foul it off, keep the at-bat alive. How many times do we see Joey Votto foul off a ball down the left field line? or over the dugout of the opposition there, just by staying alive and hoping that that pitcher maybe later on in the at bat makes a mistake and he can put a good swing on it. Ryan Braun's the same way. You know, you realize up there that you're not going to make great contact on every pitch that you swing at, but don't miss the ones that are in your hot zone.
He gets Braun on strikes for the first time tonight. He gets his 9th strikeout of the season, of the game rather, a new season high for Homer Bailey. We're in the middle of the 6th, with the Reds still up 1-0. Pittsburgh game tonight. It's in the 5th inning. How about a leadoff home run by Jose Reyes of the the Miami Marlins to give the Marlins the early advantage in that game. Pedro Alvarez, this shot got the Pirates within a run at 3-2 into right center. They have since tied the game. So the Marlins and the Pirates 3-3 in the 5th. Reds start the day 1/2 game ahead of that Pittsburgh team. 5 ahead of the Cardinals, who are playing at home against the Cubs, leading 2-1. So the scoreless streak of Ryan Dempster, which was at 33. Let's see when that ended for him tonight. Cardinals scored in the 1st, so it ended at 33 innings. They get 3 in the 1st inning of that game against Ryan Dempster and the Cubs. Bailey, then the top of the order, featuring Stubbs, then Cozart. Bailey strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. 3 strikeouts for Estrada. First out in the 6th. Top of the order now, and Drew Stubbs. Stubbs has a 5-game hitting streak. He struck out and flied out tonight. Hit 8 of his last 9. Once the break came to an end, Dusty Baker put him back in the leadoff spot in the order. This is where he wants him. This is where he thinks he can be most productive. This is where he's putting back in the order. Weeks has it, and there are 2 men out. Make sure you get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live has everything you need to know for Reds baseball concerning that night's game. And it's only on your exclusive home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. Then, after the game, break it all down. Fox Sports Ohio does just that with interviews with Dusty Baker and some of the Reds players. Reds Live postgame brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Stubbs now 0 for 3. Reds went down in order in the first, second, and third. First 10, in fact, were set down before the Cozart home run in the fourth. They've had a pair of doubles since then, one by Bruce, one by Rowland. Cozart battling here against the 29-year-old Estrada. Significant in that Cozart hit that home run. His right-handers were hitting only 195 against Estrada this year. Ransom, low throw, bounces away, up into the stands it goes. And down to second base will go Cozart.
Ransom felt he had to get rid of the ball rather quickly, coming across the bag, high hopper right there. He got a nice bounce, but he just throws that sidearm, and you could see him, the grip on the baseball that he had. He almost threw that with like a 3-finger grip, but he knew if he didn't get rid of it, he was going to end up with an infield hit. As it turns up, it's going to be an error. Runner goes to second base, and the Reds with a chance to give Homer Bailey one more little bit of insurance. There's a grip coming at us. That's how you teach the old circle change right there.
They're going to give Cozart a hit and then a throwing error on Ransom. So a hit and an E6. So Cozart 2 out of 3. Reds now have 4 hits. Phillips trying to make the Brewers pay for that miscue. Right off the end of the bat to Weeks. Brandon whips that bat away disgustedly. Inning comes to an end. Reds have stranded just their second base runner of the night.
Homer Bailey's had it working tonight. He has a 1-0 lead right here, and he's had all of his pitches working, Bailey has. I mean, he throws 4 regular pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. But he also throws a little bit of a cutter as well. He's had strikeouts on each and every one of those pitches. 9 punch-outs overall for Homer.
Yeah, he had that 23 or so pitch first inning, but since then he's been in total command.
Well, he's throwing the ball where he wants to, getting ahead, first pitch strikes, locating his fastball. But if you look at the pace of his delivery, right there, it looks effortless. It used to be when Homer Bailey came up and he threw a fastball, it looked like he was trying to throw the ball through the screen every time, thinking that if he didn't throw it as hard as he absolutely could, that they were going to hit it. Now he realizes all you really need to do is place that baby on the corner, as he does right there.
But certainly not with all the antics and the like. But do you see some comparisons, Chris, between Homer Bailey back when he was coming up in terms of the strikeouts and the young man we saw the other night, Trevor Bauer of Arizona?
I do. Well, let's take a look first at the Bailey strikeouts tonight. He's got them on every different pitch. Aramis Ramirez, fastball running down and in, a nice two-seamer right there. Hit Ricky Weeks a little bit of a cutter. Cut fastball 89 miles an hour, goes away from Weeks. There's a curveball to Estrada, the pitcher. That's unfair. And here about this little slider coming right into Aoki right there. And then finally, again, a changeup right over the top. Ryan Braun can't believe it. So those are just 5 strikeouts we've shown you on all the different 5 pitches that Homer's got working tonight.
He has 9 of them on the game. That's a season high. 1 away from his career best of 10 against Milwaukee back in 2010. What do you think of that young man, Trevor Bauer, the other night of the Diamondbacks?
I think that he'll win a lot of games in the major leagues. I really do. I think once he gets his a little bit more accustomed to big league life, maybe modify some of the things that he did. He went out and warmed up a good hour before the ball game. I think he was partly worn out. A 95-degree night, high humidity. But I'll tell you what, with the reaction of the players, the hitters in the batter's box, they did not see the ball coming out of his hand very well.
Enjoy some summer savings with the Reach Magazine Dynamic Deal August 3rd through the 5th during the Reds Pirates series. Fans can get a view-level ticket and $10 in concession credits, all for just $20. To take advantage of this great value, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/tickets today. Yeah, not long at all now until the top 2 teams in the NL Central, at least on this date, get together. Reds and the Pirates. Reds will play this series, then go on the road at Houston, at Colorado, then come home to have San Diego, and then the Pirates are in town. Nice play by Cozart. 3 ground ball outs in the 7th. That now is 8 in a row, and 11 of the last 12 set down by Homer Bailey. by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the nation again in the new U.S. News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospitals. By the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your Tri-State Chevy dealers. And by the new Summer Barbecue menu at Burger King. Let's have a barbecue today. Calm river scene here just outside the ballpark. The Ohio River inside. Big crowd happy about what they've seen thus far. 1-0 Reds lead and a tremendous night by Homer Bailey. He has walked none. He has struck out 9. He's given up 4 hits. 2 of those were in the first inning.
This is a game very similar to that Sunday night game he pitched against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Sure is.
Low scoring ball game. No really margin of error at all. One bad pitch and a lot of different players on this Brewers team could tie it up.
That one, of course, was one on that 2-run base hit into right with the bases loaded in the 8th by Roland. Bruce high, deep, and into the moon deck it goes. Jay Bruce, number 19. 2-0 Reds.
Jay Bruce hit it hard last time, a double down the line on a breaking ball. This time he gets a 2-0 fastball right down the can and just puts a nice solid swing on it and launches it like he can so well.
His 19th of the year is his first since the All-Star break. In fact, it's only his 2nd home run since the 8th of July.
You know, Bruce, I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from Jay Bruce. You just look at the stats and you can back this up. He's a very streaky guy.
Oh, yeah.
He gets very, very hot. He gets very, very cold. You just hope that this is the beginning of him being hot, because we've seen him carry a ball club. I mean, simply just go off and hit line drive, home run, line drive, drive-in runs. And the Reds could use a left-handed hitter in their lineup doing that right now. He has a look on that ball very similar to what Zach Cozart did. Watching the ball, make contact with the bat. Good firm front side. Well, you couldn't put on the tee any better than right there, though. Marco Estrada made a 2-0 mistake just by trying to throw a fastball to Bruce.
Well, think of the guys now, since Votto's been out, who have been heroes offensively for the Reds. It was Ludwig with the line drive home run on Saturday. It was Roland on Sunday. It was Phillips and Frazier yesterday. So far tonight, Cozart, from an offensive standpoint, Cozart and Bruce.
Yeah, that's what a team effort is. I mean, it doesn't have to be the same guy every night. I mean, when you're missing the guy, other guys have to step up.
Brewers now have action in their bullpen. A right-hander, Cameron Lowe, is throwing. Ludwig strikes out. He's 0 for 3. 4th strikeout for Estrada. How about a John Morrell hot dog play of the game? Batter coming up, Roland. This is his last time up. That ball trickled into shallow left. He hustled all the way, diving into second. This ball scoots away from Maldonado. Look at Roland hustling over to third.
Is that Scott Rowland or is that Pete Rose?
John Morrell hot dog play of the game, the veteran Roland. Goes to show you what one day off will do for you. Re-energizes it. 1 for 2 tonight for Roland. Pitcher spot due up third for the Brewers in the 8th. Reds have a pair of solo home runs tonight. One from Cozart, number 10. One from Bruce, number 19, and own a 2-0 lead. Now Roland gonna get in on it. Roland hits one deep. Roland with a long ball. Number 4 for Roland. 2 for 3 tonight for the veteran. 3-0 Reds.
Tell you what, he is having some kind of night. We just highlighted him as our hot dog play of the game, and he gets a high fastball right there from Marco Estrada, and vaya.
Boy, that's nice to see from him.
Now, this is the kind of ball game, you know, if you win a ball game like this, where the opposing pitcher has pitched a pretty doggone good game against. Estrada's made a couple of mistakes. Yeah, in fact, all the runs tonight have come from home runs. I'm not so sure the Kozar one was a mistake, but certainly the last couple, one by Bruce, one by Roland, he'd like to have back, but still in all, he's pitched 7 innings or almost and given up only 3 runs, and except you've got a 3-run lead.
And again, as we were talking earlier, he had held right-handers to a 195 average this year. The Reds have now 6 hits. 4 of those 6 have come from right-handed batters. 2 of them home runs.
Pitchers union right there to give him some congratulations, huh?
Leak on one side, Latos on the other.
They're smart. You know, starting pitchers are smart because they know after a guy hits a home run and sits in the dugout, he's going to get some FaceTime on TV. So they amble on over, act like they're, and I'm sure they are sincere to a certain extent about giving him congratulations about the home run, maybe pepper him a little bit. Hey, don't forget to say one for me, you know, when I'm out there. But knowing all the while that they're going to be have some FaceTime on TV.
They got it done. Hit hard by Frazier the other way, but Aoki is there to haul it in. 2 men out. That'll be Mesoraco. Here's our Meyer text poll from earlier. Which team is the Reds' biggest rival? That doesn't surprise anybody. 77% say Cardinals.
I think there might be a few people out there that aren't all that thrilled with interleague play. And our natural rival.
Mesoraco 0 for 2. He hit that fly ball to medium left field his last time, the end result of which was the double play with Roland being thrown out at the plate by Ryan Braun. Marco Estrada, 3 runs, 6 hits allowed, no walks with 4 strikeouts. Homer Bailey in this game, no runs, 4 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts. There's not been a free pass given up yet. Bailey on deck. That's going to drop for a hit for Mesoraco, so he'll keep his hitting streak going now at 8 games. Reds get their 7th hit. Bailey gets his opportunity now to bat. Remember, Homer earlier this year had his first ever complete game shutout. Actually, a complete game victory against Pittsburgh. His complete game shutout came a couple of years ago against the Pirates. So he's sitting at 1 complete game this year, and he's at 97 pitches through 7 tonight. And a little more breathing room with which to work when he takes the mound in the top of the 8th. Thanks to home runs in this inning by Bruce and Roland. Pittsburgh is now taking a lead in the 6th inning. at home against Miami, 4-3. Homer rung up, strikeout number 5 for Estrada, but a pair of long balls here in this inning. One to right by Bruce, one to left by Rowland. There's number 19. Here's number 4. American Ballpark on Saturday, August the 4th. Reds taking on those dreaded Pirates and receive a Johnny Cueto bobblehead. Cheer the Reds to victory and take home a bobblehead of the team's ace. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to Reds.com today. Johnny Cueto bobblehead coming up on Saturday, August the 4th. Just had the Jay Bruce bobblehead giveaway a couple of nights ago. Johnny Cueto coming up.
Always a popular night. Better get here early for that if you've got $25,000 to give away with Johnny Cueto as a bobblehead, complete with the dreadlocks. I imagine that'll be a big item.
Don't you know it? Bruce, number 19, made it 2-0. Rowland, number 4, made it 3-0. Separated by the Ludwig strikeout in the 7th. So now Homer Bailey at 97 pitches, back to work here in the 8th. He set down 8 in a row, 11 of the last 12. Bruce charging, sliding and cannot come up with it. And Maldonado has his second hit of the night. Jay did not appear to get a great break on that, did he?
Well, no, you know, it's a big guy at the plate. He takes a full swing, and the last thing an outfielder wants is a ball going over his head. And I think he just made a sliding dive right there, hoping that he'd make something out of nothing. That's probably the safest way to slide right there, on your backside rather than the head first slide where you risk rolling over your wrist like he did in Shea Stadium, or maybe it was Citi Field a couple of years ago, where he broke his wrist and was out for a period of time. You land on your shoulder, you dislocate your shoulder, you tear some muscles around your shoulder area.
Cody Ransom now.
Well, Homer's been keeping the ball down. He's got 8 ground ball outs tonight, and he's not normally a guy that gets a lot of ground ball double plays. He's had one tonight, but the way he's keeping it down, Ransom's a good guy to get one to roll over and turn it around the infield and get 2 outs out of it.
Brewers do have a pinch hitter on deck for Estrada, Travis Ishikawa. No bat for Estrada. Cameron Lowe had been up and throwing earlier. Bailey's now at the 100 pitch mark. Ransom has grounded out and struck out tonight, 0 for 2. Cesar Izturis has been the guy who's getting most of the shortstop playing time for the Brewers. Bailey 6'3", 225 from LaGrange, Texas. And he gets the strikeout. Number 10 equals his career high. He set that against the Brewers on October the 2nd, 2010.
Boy, there's a little cutter right there. That ball cuts away from the right-handed hitter. Good looking pitch. He might look back on that and say, no, that wasn't the cutter, that was a slider. Nonetheless, has the same action on it, and a nice result as he's nailed 10 of them now.
And no walks tonight. Really been impressive. He has 2 starts this year in which he has not walked a batter. One was a 7-inning outing, the other a 6 2/3 outing. And here he is now 7 1/3 into this one. Ishikawa bats for Estrada. Ludwig calling. 2 out. Join us this Sunday for pregame at the Reds live set for Sunglass Sundays. 100 people will receive free sunglasses courtesy of Fox Sports Ohio and the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding you to buckle up. It's a guaranteed home run every trip, every time. Here's Aoki with 2 men out. Bailey has that 9-inning complete game victory against the Pirates this year, but 3 other games of 8 innings. He went 8 at New York on the 16th of June. He went 8 at Dodger Stadium on the 7th of July. He went 8 his last time out against the Cardinals. Is an out away here from going 8 in this game. Sean Marshall, Sam LeCure up in the bullpen. Neither throwing right now. Bailey at 106 in terms of pitches. Leadoff flare of a hit by Maldonado to start this inning. Ransom struck out. The pinch hitter Ishikawa flied to left. Norichika Aoki here 0 for 3 with a rarity for him. 2 strikeouts. Ludwig going back, still going back, and he got, oh no, he did not get it. Looked like he had it. Runner coming to the plate, and the Brewers are going to score with Maldonado touching home. Aoki gets the RBI double, and it's a 3-1 game.
That changes the dynamics of this inning and the ball game, really, by that ball being able to fall in there. Not fall in. I mean, Aoki hit that ball well, hit it over the head of the left fielder. Ludwig is a very good outfielder, just can't come up with it. He knows how close he is to the wall right there. And now Dusty Baker, who's been comfortably seated all game long, watching Homer Bailey deal, is stood up. He's pointed to third base. They're going to have an appeal play. You put the ball in play, step off, tell the umpire what you're doing. Did he miss the bag? Somebody saw the player or the runner, Maldonado, maybe missed the bag. Dusty not happy with that call, but he's got a couple of relievers up in the bullpen. Let's see if we see something on that, and we'll show it to you. This is Maldonado. Did he miss the bag going around third or not? That's what you're seeing really from the Reds dugout right there. It looks like he stepped right on the top of it.
Yeah, it didn't look like he missed it at all. Carlos Gomez now representing the tying run here in the top of the 8th of a 3-1 game Reds. Aoki's 21st run batted into the year.
This one way or another, this will be Homer Bailey's last hitter.
And it looks like he's going to get him. Rolling. Inning over. 8-inning outing for Homer Bailey. 1 run in this frame. Middle of the 8th. 2-run Reds lead. Eight innings of 6-hit, 1-run baseball, Chris.
I'll tell you what, he was just dominant. You know, the first inning was his toughest inning. He threw more than 20 pitches in that, but really was not challenged ever since. 10 strikeouts for Homer Bailey. What a great night for the young Texan. He has come a long, long way right before our very eyes.
And if the Reds can hang on and get the victory here as Cameron Lowe takes over, he would equal a career high with 9 wins. And have a great shot for a big number. And this season finally wraps up. New pitcher on, meanwhile, for the Brewers is Cameron Lowe. Drew trying to keep that 5-game hitting streak alive. He's 0 for 3. Reds are running the 4th on the Cozart homers, 10th. 2 in the 7th. Home run by Bruce, 19. Home run by Roland, number 4. Brewers get a run, RBI double by Aoki, scoring Maldonado in the top of the 8th. Dubs is a strikeout victim for the 2nd time tonight. 1 out. Our Nissan drive of the game. The first run of this game was the first base runner and first hit for the Reds, and that thing just did get above the yellow line.
Boy, he is so dangerous on that inside fastball. I remember the first home run he hit was a pitch very similar. Inner part of the plate. A lot of people surprised how quick his hands really are.
He's also added an infield hit tonight, so he's 2 for 3. Part of the 7 hits the Reds have collected in this one against the Milwaukee Ball Club. Reds trying to win tonight for the 6th time in 8 games since the All-Star break. Winning a game behind Pittsburgh. Started today half game ahead of the Bucks. That Pirate game now in the 7th. Pittsburgh leading 4-3. Chapman up in the Reds bullpen. 1-2-3 9th yesterday. Big crowd tonight, 30,247, 30247 on this Friday evening. Reds looking for their 53rd win. Trying to go 13 over for the first time this year. Another 3-hit game for Cozart. Gomez slides. He's not going to stop it from being a double. 2-base hit for Zach Cozart. That's his 22nd double of the year.
It's a nice 1-2 punch right here with Stubbs and Cozart. Boy, he went down to get a nice pitch from Cameron Lowe right there, sinking fastball. He's put some very good swings on the ball tonight, Zach Cozart has.
7 3-hit games this year, the most on this Reds team. A chance to get that run back, which was given up in the top of the 8th. Brandon 0 for 3. Right over the pitcher's glove. That's going to be a 4-3 putout. Lowe reached out for that ball and just misjudged it looked like. Cozart to third, and now Lowe will face Bruce. Jay tonight 2 for 3. Double, a home run. Snapped an 0 for 19 with that double in the 4th. The 0 for 19 had equaled his career worst in terms of hitless streak. And that was set earlier this year back in April. He followed that up with that home run ball in the 7th. So he sits at 19 home runs, 58 RBIs. Both tops on this team. Chance to get to 60 here. 20 long ones, and we could launch another. Ludwig on deck at 2-0. They're going to put Bruce on. They almost threw ball 3 away.
Well, they have seen, the Brewers, that is, enough of Jay Bruce, especially with their bench coach Jerry Narron, former Reds manager, knows that when Bruce gets hot, there's no reason to pitch to him unless you have to.
First walk of the night turns out to be an intentional walk on either side. Skipper of the Brewers, Dusty Baker, a light moment with Chris Spire, the bench coach, right there. Ludwig would like to get to the 40 RBI mark. Can do so with a base hit here.
Lowe's got a big curveball. He's really a breaking ball machine. He kind of hangs that one on the, looks like off the inner part of the plate, but he gets the benefit of the doubt from Tim Timmons. That changes the at-bat.
Backhand pick by Ramirez. And the inning is over. So the Reds threatened but failed. They've now left 5. The stage is set for the 9th. Aroldis Chapman with 15 saves on the year will enter this game. Chapman is into the game. Aroldis Chapman will come on, try to save this game. Boy, how dynamite has this guy been?
Well, all year long he's been dynamite and very impressive, if not one of the best relievers in the league. Certainly a fearful reliever anyway. But his last 15 outs have been all recorded by the catcher. There's what we look at with the breakdown of Aroldis Chapman month by month. Did not give up an earned run in April or May. Finally gave up something in June. July has not done anything wrong at all. He struck out 18 and walked 1 in the month of June. Opponent batting average, well, forget about it. But I think over the last 15 outs, the numbers on Aroldis Chapman are such that the catcher has made every put out in the last 15 outs. 13 by strikeouts, 1 by an unassisted put out, and the other was a foul pop-up. So Aroldis Chapman has become very good buddies with whoever's behind the dish. He struck out 22 of his last 27. I mean, you just talk about dominating. I've never seen anything like it.
Double change made by the Reds. Heisey's now out in left. Chapman is on the mound. Heisey in the 9 spot. Chapman in the 5 hole. Ludwig out of the game. Chapman has appeared twice against the Brewers this year. 2 innings, a save, no runs, no hits, 5 strikeouts. And he gets Braun to lead it off.
Well, he's been used often here. Aroldis Chapman has since the All-Star break. This is his 6th appearance since the break.
Strikeouts now for Reds pitching.
Well, let's take a look at this at bat against last year's MVP by Aroldis Chapman, brought to you by Mazda. Our pitch-by-pitch called fastball strike. How about another fastball? Good enough. Now give me something with something on it. Bye-ya. When you do that to the MVP of the league last year, you're doing something.
Aramis Ramirez. That's 24 of the last 29 outs.
Now that last strikeout by Ryan Braun got a little extra applause here at Great American Ballpark.
Sure did.
That was the 11th strikeout of the night by Reds pitchers, and Homer Bailey had 10. First one by Chapman. And that gives all the fans in attendance with a ticket stub, what, free ice cream and
pizza.
And pizza.
Two now to Ramirez, is 0 for 3 in this game. One plate appearance against Chapman in his career, a walk. Since Chapman last blew a save on the 24th of June against Minnesota, he has saved 7 in a row over 9 appearances. Make it number 12 in terms of strikeouts for Reds pitching, as Ramirez down on strikes. 25 of the last 30 outs he has recorded have been strikeouts.
Unbelievable. When he throws this pitch up, and it's a hard pitch for hitters to lay off, and they swing at it, you're just not going to hit that ball, period.
Now Corey Hart. What's been great to see, Chris, is that he used to be, after one appearance in that second or third outing, he would start to lose command, but that hasn't been happening.
Well, I think he's beginning to feel the adrenaline of being a closer, how exciting it is for the fans here. I mean, they are on their feet. They're ready to rock and roll, and they're helping him get into the groove. Slider at 91.
When he was having his issues, the slider was not really a pitch that he was using much.
Yeah, it was a non-existent pitch. I mean, he was rolling along for so long with just the fastball and never needed it.
Two out in the ninth. 3-1 Reds, looking for their 53rd win. Chapman looking for his 16th save. Phillips, Frazier, Reds win. Bailey gets his 9th victory. That equals a career high for him. Chapman gets his 16th save. Reds win it by a score of 3-1. Guarantee themselves still a half-game advantage in the National League Central Division. And boy, oh boy, this was some special night right here.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you win a ball game like this, a very workmanlike win by the Reds, you go out there, you get good pitching, you get 3 home runs, you make them stand up with that good pitching, you bring a closer in that slams the door with a couple of punch-outs, throwing the ball 100 miles an hour, and now you start believing in this ball club.
3-1 the final, the Reds a winner. More coming up after this.